Okay, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, good morning. Today the Council has come to an agreement about the fishing opportunities for 2021 in the Atlantic and the North Sea, as well as the Mediterranean and Black Seas for 2021-2022 for deep stocks. As always, in the December Council, the negotiations were intense. This year, the Agri-Fish Council did not convene in November, and therefore, over the last 2 days, the fisheries ministers had to agree on 3 proposals for fishing opportunities in the North Sea and the Atlantic, in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea, and the deep sea stocks. This made this December Council exceptionally challenging. The stakes of the negotiations were very high, as we needed to address all 3 sustainability pillars: environmental, social, and economic. The EU's fleet has suffered from the COVID-19 crisis and is facing uncertainty due to still ongoing EU-UK negotiations. With urgent support measures in last spring, we have been able to bring a slight relief. But today, we also needed to give our fishermen and women a perspective beyond 2021. On the stocks managed exclusively by the EU, we brought 9 out of 9 tax at MSY, 9 out of 14 tax in line with precautionary advice, as well as set 2 bycatch tax and 1 tax for scientific purposes. With regard to the Mediterranean and Black Sea fishing opportunities this year, I'm pleased to see the important measures agreed on the European eel, the red coral, in the Mediterranean, turbot and sprat, in the Black Sea, and small pelagics and demersals in the Adriatic. We need to consolidate existing management plans and develop new ones to ensure the sustainable exploitation of the stocks concerned, because conservation pays off. As proven by the latest evaluation of the FAO report, State of the Mediterranean and Black Sea Fisheries, presented just 2 days ago. On the Western Mediterranean, the Council has agreed to decrease the fishing effort by 7.5%, in addition to the 10% effort reduction for the 2021 that was already included in the Western Mediterranean multi-annual plan. Openly, I regret that the ministers were not ready to fully take into account the scientific advice and agree on more ambitious effort reductions that would have allowed us to restore the fish stocks to sustainable levels and to ensure the long-term, the socio-economic viability of the fishermen and women operating in the region. The scientific advice was very clear on the extremely poor state of the demersal stocks and on what measures are required. 19 out of 22 remain dramatically overfished. With today's outcome, on the other hand, we still remain on a path towards reaching MSY by 2025, in line the requirements of the Western Mediterranean multi-annual plan. Our negotiations for the Atlantic and North Sea went quite differently from what we are used to. We only discussed 25 tax, given that the bulk of the fish stocks is shared with the United Kingdom. As you perfectly know, we are still negotiating our future agreement with them. As a transition measure, the Council has decided to proportionally roll over the tax for 2020 into the first 3 months of 2021, with several limited exceptions due to seasonality and particularly worrying scientific advices. This decision will allow our fishermen and women to continue their activities as we finalize negotiations and consultations with our neighbors across the Channel and with Norway. The discussion on stocks with MSY advice was very straightforward, as we have legal obligation to achieve MSY by this year. Member States has also respected their legal obligation to take additional measures to protect and rebuild stocks that are not in a good shape in line with the provisions of the multi-annual plans. And this is the case for cod in the Kattegat, where we will continue the measures agreed last year, including limiting the TAC to bycatches only. And we have also agreed to set the catch limit for Norway lobster, which is a fishery with high bycatches of cod at the lowest point of the MSY range. It was also important for the Commission to improve on those stocks that receive precautionary advice. Over the course of the years, we have experienced that when you adhering to the precautionary advice, drastic measures were needed later on to prevent stocks from collapsing. Baltic Eastern cod is a very good example. Conversely, in those cases, Where we did follow the advice, stocks restored quickly. So there are no excuses not to follow the precautionary advice in the interest of our fishing communities. And I'm therefore pleased that the member states have followed this reasoning and accepted to set the tax at precautionary levels for 9 stocks out of 14. Finally, I can confirm that the outcome on the deep sea species is in line with the Commission's proposal and with scientific advice. Together with the outcome of the Baltic fisheries negotiations in October, this means 14 out of 15 tax exclusively managed by the EU are set at MSY for 2021. 12 out of 17 tax will be in line with precautionary advice. Getting to the end, I would like to truly thank the German presidency and the colleagues, especially Julia, for her great leadership in these uneasy negotiations. Of course, for all the staff, for their hard work, especially under these extremely difficult circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Sinkevičius. And now we have time for some questions. As per usual, please do raise your blue hand in the application, switch on your camera, and let us know who you would like to address your question to. You can ask in English, French or German. And the first question goes to Michel Winde. Michel, you have the floor.